Okay, we're live.
All right. Okay, here we go. So, just reorganise my paper, which I had spread all over the bed, and now I've moved to a chair, so I need to reorganise it. Yes, so we had a chat last night because I was having a panic attack about actually doing this. So I wrote some notes last night, and I've written some more today. And whether I can make any sense of them at all, who knows? But my notes go something like this. Just before I came on the Zoom call, I read an email, I read a Facebook that Candy put on. It was the good old team, together everyone achieves more. And I thought, how very appropriate, because that's what we're going to talk about, and the importance of goal setting. So we talked last night briefly about goal setting for October, because whilst we've still got some of September left, and I'm sure we're still going to have lots of activity happening then, it's really important that we actually start to think about what we want to do in October. So the importance of goal setting benefits us as individuals, because hopefully we'll achieve our individual goals. It benefits our wider team, because I think we all get a little bit of positivity of each other, and a bit of accountability as well if we start to talk about our goals in a public environment. I said some things out loud to Candy last night, which I've never actually said. One of them being, I will be a district by the end of November. I've never committed to anything like that, because I keep thinking I might be able to do it, but no, I'll find something else to do instead, and I won't do that. So there you go, folks. I'm sharing that with you, that's my goal for the end of November. But together, I've got to get through October first. Other benefits, I think one of the biggest things I've got out of Arbon is this lovely friendship that we have, and the positivity we get from each other and the wider teams. And our wider team reaches up to Zoe, and it was really interesting for me, being AAC for the first time, that we were not a nation. We were international, but we weren't a nation. And there was one particular moment where they were demonstrating for the rest of the teams at AAC the impact of one particular person across Arbon in the UK, which was fantastic, and massive accolade to that person. But the upshot of that is that it was everybody stand a piff, everybody stand a piff, everybody stand a piff. And at the end of that whole experience, we were sitting down, and we stayed sitting down, this little enclave of us, very, very happy and jolly enclave. But I thought, that's not good enough. We should be a nation in our own right. And Zoe is the person who's kind of going to get us there, because she's the one who's brought us in, really. Fiona also bringing Zoe in the first place. So I felt that I didn't want to go to an AAC again and stay sitting down when somebody did and stand up now and stand up now. I thought, no, I want to stand up. I want to stand up for Zoe. I want to stand up for Candy. I want to stand up for Fiona. So if we all set our October goals, then we're helping ourselves, but we're helping Zoe get to nation. And I think she's been very generous with her time and her experience, and just to open arms really to take us all on board and recruit other people I know. So I think that's sort of the main reason for me to set some goals, because yes, I'll get what I want out of it, but we'll get Zoe there. And I think that would be just a really special way to go into December and go into Christmas and finish the year, if we could say we are a nation. We're no longer an international orphan, because that's what I felt like, an international orphan. So I'm now going to share with you my October goals. This is slightly embarrassing, some of the things I'm going to say, so just treat you with sympathy. My October goals are to remain in DM qualification. I'm not actually there yet for September, but I will be, because I haven't got very much to go this month to get back into qualification. So I'm going to remain in qualification so I can actually complete the promotion in November. That my next goal for October is to host my first product event. So in my little journey through Arbon, which has now been going since March, I've avoided everything. So sitting nicely alongside this next goal, I'm also going to present my first DA, because I've avoided that. And I've never said any of these things out loud. I just keep finding reasons not to say them. So I'm saying them now. And I'm also going to...
I'm writing it all down, Sarah, so I'm keeping
it written down. It's here. It's here. I've written it already, so it's already gone into print. And the last thing I've put on my particular October goal is I'm going to share my spa basket with 5 people, because I watched the videos and I've looked at everybody's lovely pictures of their spa baskets, and I thought, I can do that. I've got a beautiful basket. I've got some beautiful products, and they're sitting and gathering dust. So I have created
Hang on there.
our
Wait there.
basket.
Wait there.
She's going to show me up now because she's an interior designer.
No, listen. Gary's just been given this. It's his birthday today, right? By my mother.
Oh. He's not having that for long then.
There you go.
Oh dear, beautiful. Well, mine isn't as spangly new as that, but it looks quite pretty and it'll look nice when it's all jollied up. And I've been playing with my lanyard, which has got lovely green Arbonne symbols over it, and I'm thinking I can make that into a ribbon to put on the basket.
Cool.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share it with at least 5 people in October. They are my goals. So I thought, I wrote these down and I thought, why are these important? And the reason they're important, I suppose, is just a stepping stone in a bigger thing, because I have got a desire to succeed. I've always had a desire to succeed, and anything I've done at work, I always want to do better. I always want to do more. I always want to achieve. And one of the reasons I think I got involved in Arbonne is I wanted to take control and actually start to map out my own destiny a bit more. I'm going to come on to that in a moment. But the goals are important to me because my activity has been non-existent. I've just got such a massive fear of failure and rejection that I just avoid doing it. Because if I don't say anything and I don't do anything, then I can't fail. I won't go forward either, but I'm not going to fail, and nobody can say no because I didn't ask them. I've got to get over that. I really know I've got to get over that. So putting out my goals for me is quite a big first step, big step to actually just put myself out there and face my fears and get on with it, because I've been paralysed by it. So this is me stepping outside of my comfort zone and looking forward to October being a very different month to the ones that have gone before. So what's been stopping me? Well, yes, it's fear and all of those things, but also I've been to lots of DAs and I've listened to some very inspiring people, and they get up and they do their why, and I think, wow, that's amazing. They've got such great backstories. Oh, you know, I really get why they're doing this. And then I think about myself and think, why am I doing this? I couldn't really get what my why was. I kind of loosely knew, and yes, my family is important to me, one thing and another, I didn't really know. But what was really helpful, and Candy sat next to me when this sort of happened, and my epiphany moment was when I went to AAC and Claire Fishenden spoke. And she spoke about Simon, I'm going to say his name wrong, Simon Sinek and his why philosophy and the golden circle. And one of his quotes is, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And then she went through an exercise to help us get to our whys. So, Lucy, I know you were at AAC, so you were there and saw that, and so you got the benefit of that. So I thought I'd perhaps just share how it worked for me and the light bulb moment. So Claire got us to do a mind map or a bubble chart, depending on which terminology you want to use. And it started like that, just with the why. And then she told us to put 4 spurs off it at each point. So we did. And then we wrote down 4 more bubbles, and we put into those 4 bubbles what was important. So I wrote what was important to me about why I was doing Arbonne, and I'm going to cover that bit up for now. So I wrote friendship. That was actually the first thing I wrote down, because I think that's been a huge part of my journey so far, how welcoming and generous everybody's been. Sorry, friendship. I wrote down self-development, because in my previous life in banking, I did a huge amount of self-development. And I feel like I've been stagnating in the last sort of 5 years or so since I left banking, and I've been doing other things. I've learned lots, but I haven't really developed myself, because there's a difference between learning and developing yourself. I put down time, because I always commit probably too much to work and end up spending far too long there. So I need to kind of rebalance that. But I put down choices. And then Claire then encouraged us to think about what did that mean to us? What was the most important thing on there, and what did it mean? And so I went back to choices being the most important thing, because choices would get me to a better lifestyle. And then she said, but what does that really mean to you? So I wrote family. And then she said, why? Why is that important? And I got to happiness. And I think pretty much around the room, everybody at that point had got to happiness, regardless of what route they'd gone through. They got to happiness being their why. And I suppose I came back to this whole, I don't have this compelling backstory of whatever it might be. But I thought, actually, I do. Because I've realised, and this is where I'm going to refer to another piece of paper, just to go through, you know, where I am right now and why this is important to me right now, is that because I've always had a really high level of work commitment, I've done things and made decisions which I've thought were the right things for me and my family. And with hindsight, which is wonderful, I can't change those things. So because of my commitment to work, I went back to work when Ryan, who's my youngest, was 5 months old. I stopped breastfeeding. I hadn't planned to, but they needed me. They really needed me to go back. They really couldn't function without me. So I stopped breastfeeding and I left my 5-month-old baby, along with my 2 preschoolers, in childcare full-time because work needed me. And I thought I needed work to look after them. It's a bit of a catch-22. Now, my children are my world to me, and I really genuinely believed I was doing the right thing by them. But it's, you know, I've sacrificed huge amounts of personal time with them that I'll never get back in their infancy and in their childhood. And now I listen to other people's wives and I think they're so lucky. They've got this all in their grasp and they can have all this time. But this was my light bulb. I can still have it because my kids might be teenagers now, but this is going to give me a route to have such good quality time for them for the rest of their lives. And that's what's important. I can't change what's in the past, but this opportunity will give me just a way that I can share my life with my family as they grow up, and as, you know, life goes on, and I'm sure they'll have families of their own. What I've sacrificed at points in their life, I don't need to sacrifice again. I can build on that and I can have that time with them. And if that means that I want to go off on a fabulous holiday, I'm not going to think, gosh, how am I going to afford that? Because I'm going to have a vehicle that's going to get me there. It's going to give me the time. It's going to give me the opportunities. So really, that was the purpose of me sort of talking about goals and the importance and everything else, and getting to being clear on what your why is, because I couldn't figure it out. I really couldn't. And actually, I think I've got it now. I think it is, don't regret what you've done already, but do think about what you can change and make the most of. And I love my kids, and they're great independent people, and you know, they've not suffered, I don't think, from being, you know, in different daycares and different things over their life. They're great people, but I'm so proud of them, and we're so close that the thought of not being able to take them on a journey with me breaks my heart. So actually, this is great because I'm going to be able to do that now. And there's a big wide world that we haven't been around together. We've been to some fantastic places, but we've got so much more to do. So that's it, really. Onwards and upwards. And Team Peace are out to go and see the rest of the world. And that's kind of, you know, and so Candy, I know we went on and talked about affirmations and different bits and pieces, but actually I thought that probably is as much as I need to say for now, because I've got that bit fixed. I'm putting it out there. It's not very beautifully crafted at the moment, but I've got it. I know what it is, and I just need to kind of hone it down and polish it up and make it compelling, because for me it is compelling. So, you know, that it is the reason. I've missed stuff out. I don't want to miss anymore. I'm going to change things and do things differently. So that's my why. And yeah, that's sort of where I got to with things, really. So I think I probably just want to say that's where I am, and that helps me because it helps me build up my 60-second story and all of those things. Because what I've realised from listening to Claire Fishenden and various other people is that if you don't say these things and really mean them from the heart, they don't mean anything. And you've got to get to that real nub of why you are doing it for it to actually matter. So so that's sort of what I wanted to say.
Brilliant. Very, very good. Very good. Because my why is pretty much the same, in that, you know, the time with the children is fast disappearing, and I just wanted to be able to go off and do, you know, it's a bit of a selfish why to start with, because, you know, people have all these whys about changing the world and, you know, giving to orphanages and all of that, and that will come as, you know, the paycheck gets bigger. But for now, I'm battling to kind of, while the kids are still around, that we have some really good times and memorable, you know, special times together. So yeah, I think anybody of our kind of age with kids of our kind of age that's going to be their why for now, isn't it? To squash in as much as you possibly can before if they disappear, and then to be able to help them in their adult life, because we know that it was hard for us getting started, but it's going to be even harder for them getting started. So brilliant, really good that you've kind of got it honed down now. That's fab.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Claire shared with us was the fact that you need to keep revisiting your why, because just as you've touched on, Candy, that's my why for now. Now, 5 years down the tracks and with several goals perhaps achieved and under our belts, then it's going to be slightly different. I'm sure it will be. And I suppose that's why we need to keep going back to it. But ultimately, it needs to be real, doesn't it? It's got to mean something to you, because it's worthless otherwise. So,
yeah, and I think that whole bubble chart and getting it, keep asking yourself, that it's a brilliant exercise to do. So I know obviously Sarah, Lucy and I have done it, but Mel and Nikki, have you done anything? Have you done your why like that before?
It's funny how you picked up on Claire Fishenden, Sarah, because that's the exact same person that I've shared with my team.
Oh, right.
Because that's exactly what touched me as well.
Yeah.
And really connecting with my why, because I have my why, but I didn't think I was really connected with it.
No.
And to really grind it down to the point where it makes you emotional, you then feel that attachment to it, which I then think drives you forward. So that's what I've encouraged the team to do as well.
Yeah, and that's it's what I'm hoping to sort of move forward from myself, because it was a bit of a gamble going to AAC. It was tricky work-wise to kind of say I would do it, but I've done it and I don't want to lose it, and I have sort of gone back into a storm of horribleness at work, not because I've been to AAC, but just because of the time of year it is. But there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I thought, okay, October I've got to kick off now. I've got to get going. I can't lose the momentum that we got from that brilliant opportunity to go to AAC. So it's been good, really, that Candy's asked me to step up tonight and do a bit on the call, because it's made me go back and think about, what did you get? What did you get out of AAC? What do you want to do now? Are you just going to let 2015 fizzle out and not turn into anything, or is it time to do things differently? So it's time to do things differently.
That's brilliant. I think you did really well.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know what you were worried about.
The hamster wheel can just spin so quickly, and we're just on it, and then you have to kind of step out of it and say, what am I doing? Because your time just gets eaten up by day-to-day stuff. But you just got to. I mean, I know we say it's 10 to 15 hours a week, but you've just got to make it priority, because it's like making that priority for a short space of time is what's going to give you freedom and choices, in the long term. So, because I mean, again, I was just sort of going back to making the decision each time to go to the next level, and obviously once you've got to that level, then you can, it's all a big push, and then you go, oh, afterwards, and then the danger is then that you either slide back or you just sit at that same level for ages, and I've been district for a long time now, so all it needed for me, I mean, I could have just made the decision like a couple of months later and said, right, okay, now we're going area, and I'm sure that if I'd have just decided to do it and go, then things would have fallen into place. But because I just sat there thinking, oh well, I need my team to be bigger, I need this to be bigger, constantly listening to the voices in my head about, oh well, you can't do it now because of this, or you can't do it. And even like this morning, I made myself this little video, having watched whatever her name is, Debbie Neal, last night, and saying, right, yeah, no, that is. We as a team can quite easily go to region if we're all, on it by the end of November. She did it in she went from naught to region in a few weeks. I can't remember how many weeks it was, but she was saying, and you guys have already got a head start. Obviously, she was talking to the areas in her team. So, we can be a Smith region by the end of November if we're all pulling together and everybody's on it and all momentum and what have you. So, totally possible. If she can do it, why can't we? And why can't,
Absolutely.
You can absolutely be a district by the end of November, Sarah. Mel, you can absolutely be an area. Lucy, you can absolutely be an area. Nikki, you can absolutely be a district. You know, there's nothing. You know, and as soon as I'd sort of made that decision this morning, then I say all these opportunities started popping up during the day. It's like, oh yeah, you know, just incredible. So don't do what I did and just sit there month upon month upon month waiting for all the stars to align in the right place, because it just doesn't happen. And the thing is, because the people, like they say as well, that the people that got you to districts will be the different people that get you to area, and they might well be then the different people that get you to region, because people come and go. So, and I remember listening to the Sojourner tapes that they did. So the top 10 earners that were recorded in 2007, and one of them was saying that you are the house. So like we are with our kids, you know, our kids are in our house for a little while, then they'll go, but then they'll come back when they need their washing doing, or they've got grandchildren or whatever. And we just have to be the same as consultants, as districts, as areas, as region, that we are the ones that are staying put, and people will come and go because they're not as committed as we are, or, you know, life circumstances get in the way. But if you make the decision that you're a lifer and that you're sticking with it, then yeah, the only thing that only way you fail is if you leave or you give up, or you sit there and do nothing. And that's the dangerous bit, because when you're kind of waiting for things to align, that's when you lose your momentum, and that's when you lose your hunger for it. Trying to get, I mean, last summer, not the one just gone, but the one before, I convinced myself that it was, you know, summer was going to be rubbish because no one was around. Everyone was on holiday, and I'd spoken myself into a business going from up here to down there, just stupid little voices in my head. And yeah, this summer wasn't great either, and that is what the summer's like. But I hadn't got myself. I didn't have to start like more or less all over again, because if you take your foot off your gas, it's so much harder to keep it going. It really is. So anybody else got any nuggets for us? We've got 13 minutes left. Oh, yeah, so basically, I'm just thinking with regard to dates and things, so getting October booked up. So if any, Mel, we've got a date, we're coming down to you.
Yeah, 17th.
17th of October. I'm just going to grab my calendar, in fact. Yeah, so by the end, where are we? 22nd. So we've still got another week and a day, the rest of this month. So where, Mel, you will have hit DM bonus again, I should think.
I'm hoping to. Need 2 more PCs or ICs. I've got my stats, I just need those, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and Sarah, so you'll be in qual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about you? What about Lucy, Nikki? What are you up to? I can't see yours, obviously.
No, you can't. We'll maintain.
Yeah.
We will maintain.
Cool.
But then we're going to push for area, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Aren't we, Nikki?
We are. Yep. I've got an enforced 6 weeks out of work, so that'll do a lot to focus my mind. It's kind of very opportune. Various things have happened, so yeah, I've got 4 6 weeks, which will really help, I think, me mentally. A bit like I'm like Sarah, work commitment, fear, phobic, no action. So I've decided to, as Lucy knows, I had a bit of a light bulb moment last week, which will enable me to write my why and then basically move forward. I've already started it. So, yeah.
I think the fact that, well, and obviously you guys are going. It's, you know, Fiona's nation bit that you guys will be in, but the fact that we're all kind of pushing at the same time, it just gives you more confidence that everybody's going for something. So it's not you sort of sticking your neck out on the block in front of, and everybody else isn't doing anything. You know, if we're all going for it at the same time, then, you know, it's going to be a fabulous atmosphere. So yeah.
But it's back to what Sarah said. It's the friendship and the support.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for me, it's such a different place to where it was 4 years ago. Just having the people around that you can go and ask the stuff that's available. I mean, a bit like you, I was listening to an AOC thing this morning, and I was laughing because she'd went and covered what she thought was going to be a sale 2 hours outside First City in America, to find that it was basically a garage sale. And the guy asked how much the body foaming cream was.
Yeah, well,
and she said, always record those stories, because they're the funny stories that you'll tell when you stand up. And I thought that was really... That was great. No event is a disaster kind of thing.
Yeah, quite.
And she was really funny, and it was quite inspiring, actually. So I was listening to that this morning.
Yeah, I love her. She's brilliant, really good.
Nikki, you were listening
Mel,
to?
what about your lot?
Candy, what's her name? Sorry, Sarah was just asking me who I was listening.
Camilla Eves.
Yeah, Camilla. She's really funny. She's really good. She's on the AAC YouTube. If you look at the official AAC, she did a talk at AAC 2013, and it's really good.
Okay, I'll look it up and have a listen to it. So.
Yeah, it was good. I was listening to it this morning.
Cool.
Yeah, she's Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah.
And an actress. She's been in Mamma Mia.
Well, she's Bernstein Bear's mama.
Yes.
In the cartoon Bernstein Bear, she's the mama bear.
Oh.
The other thing, guys, I've been doing a lot of pulling down a lot of information, really useful information on Pinterest, actually. There's loads up there, and there's loads of recordings up there as well.
Oh, okay.
So if you look
on the Arbonne,
if you go into Pinterest, there's loads of Arbonne people that are pinned up, and there's some really useful facts and figures, loads of stuff on nutrition, product information, product shares. There's just loads and loads of stuff, and that's where I started looking this morning, which eventually got me to her. But the Pinterest, if you put Arbonne in Pinterest, it is really worth having a look around.
Just one thing that I know I'm personally guilty of is that I can spend too much time looking at more information upon more information upon more information, and not actually getting on with it. So that's, I think a lot of us can kind of get into that danger zone that, you know, you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at all these different, there's so many things on the source, there's all of this, but it can end up being an excuse for not doing it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not suggesting, Nikki, that it is, but I just say, just be... No,
I get where you're coming from. I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm honest. I'm good at that.
Yeah. Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
That's cool, that. Analysis, keep analysing it, and then you won't do anything. So...
Yeah. I think the trick is to just limit your time, isn't it? Give yourself half an hour on social media and then cut off. That's it.
Yeah. And actually make a list of all the people that you're going to contact and give yourself a limited time to do that in as well.
Yeah.
Early on, if you can. When Saturday morning, I just sat down and I punched out loads of emails and rang a few people and stuff and just got it kind of over and, you know, out the way. And then you think, well, yeah, I've done all that. Okay, you're not going to get any answers immediately, but, you know, then as the week progresses, then this comes up and that comes up and this comes up. I've had a woman, I can't even remember, she asked me to like her Stella and Dot page for her. I thought, yeah, fine, I like that. Anyway, she just sent me a message saying, would I host an evening? Would I host a party for her? I said, yes, if you do one for me. And then she said, then she's doing a Christmas event at her house. She hadn't got anybody doing skincare. Would I like to do that? I was like, yes, absolutely. You know, just straight into another network then, aren't you? So
is that like at Nassington, Candy?
Sorry?
Where is she based? Is she Nassington? Or?
Yes, yeah. Has she asked you as well?
she put it on a Women in Business page. I saw it and I hummed and hawed about it, but I only saw it yesterday, so that's good. If you're getting in there, good.
Yeah, well,
So,
get her to host one at yours as well, and then that's another, because then it's not just Arbonne, is it? It's something else that you're offering people.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I was like, right, yeah, just jump on that. Yes. Cool. Anybody else got anything? I think we're almost out of time. Got 5 minutes. Everything all right down in Kent, my dear?
I think so, yeah. We're quite busy. We've got lots of activity booked for October, which is good, and different kinds of stuff as well. Got a makeup workshop. We've got Claire's got Prince's Golf, so that'll be a good one for the ladies down there. So we've got an evening with that. We've got product events and kinds of things going on, so we've all kind of booked up as much as we can, really.
Yeah, fab.
I want to try and get the Christmas stuff on the go as well. So hopefully it's right. But I just listening to some of the things you've been saying, and I was reading somewhere earlier on Facebook on one of the other side teams, so I'm making quite a big thing about the fact that you shouldn't message people. It should all be, speaking to people as much as you can, which I do get, but sometimes when you're trying to actually make contact with people, you don't have phone numbers, you have no choice but to message. And it's like, if you believe everything that you read, because it makes you feel a bit like, oh, shouldn't be doing this or shouldn't be doing it like that, and you just think, do you know what, you just got to be brave enough to go, no, I'll find out my own way. If it's wrong, then
yeah, definitely.
But equally, if you do get, and I did actually do some messages and I did get some response, so I was quite happy with that. But I think sometimes just be careful what you do read, really.
Yeah, exactly. Because Eric Worre, I remember
you lose the fun of it if it becomes all rules and regulations all the time. Is what I think.
Definitely. You got to do what feels natural for you. So if your natural way of communicating with people is messaging them or texting them, to suddenly ring somebody out of the blue, they're going to be like, oh, why is she suddenly ringing me? And actually, I think people are less likely to pick up the phone. If you message someone, then they can read it and then they can get back to you in their own time, can't they?
Absolutely. And also you can follow that message up because you've got it there. It was there. You can follow it back up.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not sort of like totally dissing the idea of phoning, because I think there should be but it just depends who it is you want to talk to.
Yeah.
And how best to communicate with that person, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And actually, if you're going to be doing a presentation to them, you're either going to be in front of them on Zoom or you're going to be with them personally anyway. So all the messaging bit is about making an arrangement, isn't it, to meet?